Hello, welcome to Oglar Adventures. I'm Cresta, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Three Rivers Challenge, namely, why I'm not participating. So, the Three Rivers Challenge, in case you aren't sure what exactly that is, it is Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead does a challenge for herself during the month of January and February, and I think she carried over a little bit last year into March as well, where she doesn't buy things from the grocery store. What she does is she goes through all of her food storage, and that way you get to use up the things that you work so hard to preserve, and you are able to rotate things and then see what you need to can more of the following canning season, or what you need to can less of, what your family eats and what your family prefers, which is a wonderful idea. And I would absolutely love to be able to participate. However, this last year, 2023, I had 5 surgeries. So, over the course of the year, they weren't all at the same time. They were, I had one in February. I had one in April. One in July, and I had another one in November. So they were like spaced out throughout the year, and it didn't really give me the opportunity, to have a good garden. I did plant seeds, I did start seeds. Well, I started them first and then I planted them. But what happened was I wasn't able to give my garden the attention that it needed in order to be able to thrive and really produce a lot of food. So my garden got taken over by weeds. My harvests were spotty at best. There was some pest pressure too, and I'm not exactly sure where that was coming from. Didn't really have the health ability to go out and investigate very well. So there's also, a challenge with our property next to us was sold recently, and for the first time since we moved here in 2021, we actually witnessed a plane flying over and spraying. So I think we might have gotten some of the drift over from that property, and that definitely can affect your plants when you're trying to be growing food. So I want you to take a look here at these jars behind me. These are all empty for the most part. There's just a few. I did can some beans recently, and those are right there. But the majority of my cans, my jars that I use for canning, are not full. They're empty, and dismally so. It makes me sad to walk in here in my canning room, is what I call it, and look at all these empty jars. I'm trying really hard to just kind of hang on to the idea that, it's a new year and I can start over again. I am thankfully, prayerfully, with all, good vibes and intentions, not going to be having any more surgeries anytime soon. So I have a chance to start over again and redo and have a new garden, get seeds going in a good way where I'm actually going to be able to pay attention to them. And then, the next harvest season, I will hopefully be able to bring in a lot more things than I was able to this year, or this last year, 2023. So I'm not participating in the Three Rivers Challenge. I just don't have the food to be able to do that. We are going to be preserving some more things during these next few months. I have a lot of beans that I still need to work through and get those put into jars and on the shelves. I have some lots and lots of chicken carcasses, turkey carcasses. I have some beef bones. So I'm going to be doing lots of broths and getting those into jars and getting those put up on the shelves. but I really just didn't have very much to preserve this year. I did buy some cucumbers, so I made a couple batches of pickles. I did buy some tomatoes, and I made some little small batch of salsa. And then, you know, I have my beans that I was able to can, and I still have more to can. Our chickens are not laying right now, so I don't have eggs. I did preserve the eggs that we did get last year in the spring when they were going gangbusters. So I have freeze-dried bags of eggs that I will show you, and I did water glass some eggs, which those are almost all gone now because, you know, we've needed to use them. It killed me having to go to the store and buy eggs. I have like 30 chickens. I shouldn't have to buy eggs, but the majority of them were poults. They were really young right when the cold started happening, and so they stopped laying. The older ones, you know, were going through their molting, and yeah, we just haven't had many eggs, I should say. So I am not going to participate in the Three Rivers Challenge. I am, however, looking forward to next year and being able to participate fully. So I am starting to plan my garden. Getting ideas for my garden. We kind of did something a little bit different. I figured out the way I had my raised beds is not ultimately the way that I want them. So we brought our big Duroc pig over and kind of put her in that area so that she could work on getting the ground kind of tilled up and, you know, get rid of all of the we took all the existing logs away from the sides of the raised beds. We put her in there so she could dig and root around and do all the things, get everything all up and moved around. And then we are going to be making new raised beds. I'm going to put weed cloth down, as ugly as it is, and it kills me to say that, but around here I think that's the only way I'm going to get around all of the weeds. I tried the no dig method. I've tried back to Eden, deep mulch. I've tried all kinds of things, and it's just not working very effectively. So I'm going to cover everything with weed cloth and then put raised beds on top of that with I think actually Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead uses this for her raised beds, but she puts a hardware cloth underneath the bottom of it so that critters can't get in there and get to her plants. So we do definitely have a problem with gophers and groundhogs and squirrels and lots of other creatures. So we are going to be implementing that, putting the hardware cloth on the bottom of the raised bed, and to keep potential critters out of there that would love to eat my plants. Just kind of, you know, this is our, let's see, we've been here this will be our 4th summer coming up because we moved here in July of 2021. So I didn't really plant much in July when we first moved here because, you know, it was too late by that point. But the last, 2022, we had a really good garden. It was very productive. We had a lot of things coming out of it. 2023, nothing. It was dismal. It was so sad. There was a handful of potatoes, a handful of tomatoes, a handful of green beans, and I do use rotational, crop rotation, so I don't ever grow the same thing in the same bed twice in a row. I rotate. The only things that are permanent that stay where they are is the asparagus, the rhubarb. I think that's it, just asparagus and rhubarb. I did plant some Jerusalem artichokes, but they didn't come up at all, so I don't know what happened there. And I'm trying to expand our perennial crops, so I'm going to look into getting some more perennial plants. We do have some herbs that kind of popped up a little bit, and then, you know, parsley always likes to reseed, borage likes to reseed. So those actually came back up in the same area where they already were growing from the last year. But I try really hard not to plant the same thing in the same area twice, just because of, there's cucumber beetles here. There's, here, I'm saying here, it's Michigan, Southwest Michigan. We are in zone 5, 6, we're right on the borderline. So, lots and lots of bugs here that I had never encountered before in Washington State. So in Washington State, I was in zone 7B, and I didn't have a lot of the bugs that are very prevalent here in Southwest Michigan. So there's cucumber beetles here, there's tomato hornworms here, there's Japanese beetles here. Not quite sure what else. Those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head. Oh, squash vine borers, that's another one. So it's a constant battle to try and figure out how to take care of these things, eradicate them without using pesticides. I don't want to do that. We don't, you know, we grow our food organically, and I want to continue to do that. So anyway, I'll just give you a tour of what we do have going on here in the canning room. And we have had a large harvest of pork. We grew and raised our own pork this year, and so we have a freezer full of pork. We also did raise up 100 meat chickens, so we have those in our freezer as well. So our freezer is very full of meat. Not much else though. I do still have some peppers left over from 2022 that I still have to preserve somehow, but right now they're sitting in suspended animation in the freezer. So I'll show you what I did get done in the canning room this year. There's also some leftover stuff from last year that we still need to go through. So in that way, I kind of am participating a little bit because I do want to circulate through the food that I already have preserved and make sure we get that eaten. And then we're going to be starting all over again and growing and preserving more food this next time around. So I will be starting seeds soon. It is January 4th today as I'm recording this video, 2024, and I will get some seeds into cold stratification, and then those are the ones that, you know, need to have that chill time in order to be able to sprout. So I will get those going, and then I will start back over again. So one of the things that we did do a little bit of preserving with this year is I did make some more salsa, some more pickles, and a little bit more jelly. So there's the salsa that you see up there on the shelf and the pickles. I made those this year. And then the jelly, I made some wild violet jelly, and then I made our family favorite, which is sunshine jelly. You might know of it as dandelion jelly, but we call it sunshine jelly because it just tastes like you're eating sunshine. It's just so good, and I'll have to do a video on that later once the dandelions come back. The beans that I did get done this year are Great Northern and Pinto, and then some kidney beans. I still have some black beans to preserve. And then I've got all of these empty jars, and that in itself is an interesting story. I had sent my husband over to respond to a Craigslist listing where the lady was selling a quote lot of canning jars for $50. So I sent him over there, and he comes home with an entire carload filled with canning jars. Best investment I have made ever in canning equipment. Here's some of those powdered eggs, the freeze-dried eggs there on the left, and then the bags down there on the bottom as well, the freeze-dried Mylar bags. And then I've got over here, there's more applesauce. I've got some freeze-dried fruit, some tomatoes. There's chicken broth, which I've started preserving that from all the carcasses that we had in the freezer. And then there's more Mylar bags of the eggs. So that was our tour of the canning room and all of my empty jars. I'm hoping that what you got out of this video is that whatever you're able to do, whatever time you have, whatever resources you have, it's good enough. And that's something that I've had to try and really hard to learn this last year in 2023. With everything going on, I just had to let go of my preconceived ideas that I had to have XYZ done in order to be a successful homesteader. I just had to let go of it. Circumstances dictated that I needed to slow down. I needed to take a break. So that is what I did. And I hope that if somebody needs to hear that today, that it's okay for you to just do what you're able to do and, let go of the rest. I hope that that message reaches you. And if you know someone who needs to hear a message like this, that it's okay to just do what you can and let go of the rest, please share my video with them, like, subscribe, turn the little bell on so that you get notifications when I post something new, which I'm planning on doing a lot more frequently this year. As I said, with 2023 being crazy, I wasn't able to do a lot of videos, but this year I'm working on it. So we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep growing, we're gonna keep developing and take breaks when we need to. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you next time.